All right, everybody. Good morning. This is J.A. Dava. Welcome to Challenging Your Status Quo. It's the podcast series where we talk about succeeding not only in your business, but other well-beings as well. That really just helps life's holistic success come even clearer to you and more complete. We'll be discussing vocational journeys as we always do on this show, but always we will be bringing in 4 other well-beings tied into that vocational success. Because I truly believe that in our business, in any business actually, you can work as hard as you can to be successful vocationally. But if any other parts of these 4 vocational, 4 well-beings is off balance, that could be the reason why you're limiting your success. And the other 4 well-beings alongside of vocational well-being is going to be your spiritual well-being, your relational well-being. In other words, how are you doing with family and friends? Are you balancing that out and enjoying life with those that matter to you the most? There's the physical well-being. Are you keeping yourself in good shape? Are you taking care of your body? And are you taking care of your emotions, your mind? Those are what I call the physical well-being. And then finally, alongside of the vocational, I really truly believe that you need to be able to take the blessings that have been given to you and what are you doing with it? In other words, we want to also be talking about our philanthropical well-being. So within that, we always cover vocational well-being. Along the way, we will talk about spiritual well-being, relational well-being, physical well-being, as well as philanthropical well-being. Today, however, it's going to be a unique hour because during this hour, my guest, I'm so privileged to have this guy on. And we've got a crazy story about how we even came together. But today, I think you're going to get like almost all the well-beings all in one. It's going to be a loaded show. And it's going to be a show where we want you to walk away feeling renewed. Okay. And I'm J.A. Dava. I am the co-founder and the senior coach with Latria Coaching and Consulting. And my special guest today, by the way, is not only a very good friend of mine. I really consider him a brother of mine. And this gentleman has built an incredible business within the mortgage industry and really has taken the time to be coaching loan officers as well as realtors. So as a coach, I'm always privileged to have another coach on, but I want to bring him on now because we got a lot to cover. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the coulda, shoulda, wouldas of life, right? So the way it's titled right now is Only I Could Have. If only I could have. So without further ado, I do want to bring up who our guest is today, and that is Michael Mann. Like I said, a great friend, a great brother, as well as just an incredible loan officer in his own mind. And he will, in his own mind. Did I just say that out loud? I did just say that out loud. Thanks. But I mean,
my own mind.
You would never say that out loud to anybody else. And that's what I mean by that. But you're humble enough, but yet I know that you've got a tremendous amount of success. Michael Mann, welcome to Challenging Your Status Quo. How are you, man?
Dude, I'm awesome. I appreciate being on here. I know I'm looking forward to this. So thank you, man. I'm doing amazing.
Oh gosh, it is my pleasure. And we're gonna get right into it. But before I do, there was a time where you and I ended up working out with the Navy SEALs. Do you remember that?
Absolutely, and the beaches of Coronado.
Beaches of Coronado, and I will tell you guys that when we met there, I'm really short. And most of the guys that I was with out there were all tall. And so when we were doing the log roll, right, Michael, and we had to hold the logs on and then the waves came in. Well, everyone else that was tall, I was just like this little tilt-a-whirl that kind of spun around the log because I was so short. But Michael, outside of the Navy SEAL training that we were doing, and it was such a short amount of time, so I can't even begin to say it was a Navy SEAL training. But you and I met at that time, and we had something in common that happened at that time. Do you mind sharing just very quickly what our connection is and our spiritual connection there?
Yeah, and it's coming up here in 1 month from today, actually, April 1st.
It is. Yeah.
April 1st. And actually it was April 1st, 2008, actually,
Wow.
right? That's
Yeah.
my dad, my
Exactly.
father passed away April 1st, 2008. And on your side?
On my side, I had a heart attack in April 1st of 2008. So, and you and I were just sitting at a bar, right, and overlooking the ocean and stuff like that. And you and I started comparing stories, and you were telling me about John Owen Mann, the
Well,
great man that he was.
well, you tell the story that we were sitting at a bar, but you actually invited me to dinner, and before dinner, took me out on this bluff to see the sunset. It was a very romantic scene. I remember it. It was awesome. No, it was it was awesome. We were at an industry event, and we knew each other from
Right.
your past your days of helping out mortgage lenders and real estate agents, and we knew each other. We saw each other at the event, and we're like, "Hey, man, let's go get some dinner." And I knew of this really cool place, and we sat there and watched the sunset, and we just talked. And then it was like, "Really, April?" And I told you the story, and if I remember, you at first you were like, you didn't say much, you didn't say anything, you kind of like soaked it in, and then you're like, "I also April 1st, 2008." So if I'm putting that on a bumper sticker, like Keith Cunningham says, April 1st, 2008, my father died. And April 1st, 2008, you lived.
Yes.
And I think that that was a beautiful start to our friendship. And
Incredible, actually, right,
yeah,
Michael? And I mean, so this is just the beginning of the journey, guys, because we've done numerous other things. But I want to be able to get into, Michael. I want you to talk about your journey in the mortgage industry, first and foremost, and then I want to take it from there because there's so much to share here, and there's so many people are listening. And it's a tough time in the market right now, right? It's a unique time in the market right now. 23 was crazy. 24 is still kind of crazy, but getting better. But Michael, tell me about your journey in the mortgage industry first.
I'll just bullet point the highlights, I guess.
Yeah.
2002, I started part-time. 2003 is when I really got into it full time. And I lived my first year in business over and over and over again, like 8 years in a row, right? The ups, the downs, the good month, the bad month, the good year, the bad year. I don't know if I want to do this anymore, And in 2008, well, 2007, 2008, that area when we had the market crash, obviously there was a lot of doubt. And my father died. I lost my biggest fan, and I was just like, oh my God. And my dad helped me the first couple of years, if I didn't make money, he was there, whatever. And then he died, and I was like, oh shit, I don't have nothing to fall back on. So let's roll, gotta do this. Built back up from the crash. And then in 2010, I had a daughter who was born 3.5 months early, super premature. She was born 1 pound, 10 ounces. We didn't know if she's going to live or die. Like, she was in an incubator for 97 days in the hospital in the NICU. And at that time, I really was contemplating like getting out of the mortgage business. I picked up a newspaper. I said, I got to find a real job because I have a kid now, right? A real job. And then something miraculous happened. One day, the doctor called us and said, hey, listen, I got good news. I got bad news. The bad news is we had to sedate your daughter. But the good news is she's trying too hard. She's a fighter. She's not giving up. She's not a quitter. She must get that from her parents. And man, I got to tell you, I'm standing over the incubator, and the doctor is sharing this news with us, and my whole entire world just like came, like if you could see your whole world and your peripheral vision just came to like this really small, focused vision only on my daughter in the incubator. I couldn't even hear what the doctors were saying anymore. And everything was in slow motion. I just heard the clock ticking on the wall. And that was it. Doctor's voice is off in the background. My tears were bouncing off the incubator, sounding like bombs. Like literally, I was in this place of not here anymore. And dude, I literally I felt the hand of God come down, smack me upside the head, really, and just say, "Hey, man, you're not done." I mean, spiritually. So, honest to God, I've never felt anything so divine. Spiritually, you're not done. And I decided right then and there. I said, "All right, man, I'm going to do this. We're going to build it the right way." And that was 2010, January 2011. I closed 0 loans, and I said, "Dude, we're starting over again, starting from scratch." And what we built from there, I built. I guess what I want to share here is, I want to say that the grace of God came down and said, "Hey, man, let's, you got to roll. Like you're still going to do this." And I gave it up and I said, "Hey, if that's what I'm supposed to do, it's up to you. It's in your hands. I'm no longer in control of this." And, a lot of people would love the story if I shared. And then the next month we did amazing and made tons of money, but that's not how it works. The next couple of years, man, it was still a really big challenge. We still had a daughter that was on oxygen. We still had a daughter that, we didn't know if she was going to be able to see, hear, or whatever. So all those life challenges, in addition to building a team and saying, "Hey, we're going to do this the right way." I mean, it took some time.
Yeah.
And I think 2013 it was, I closed a whopping 14 million, right? And that was the start. That was the starting place. And from there, it just grew. The next month it was 33 million. Or I'm sorry, the next year it was 33 million. Year after that, it was almost the identical 33 million. Year after that, 77. Year after that, we hit 100. We did 100 like 3 years in a row. We were blessed with the COVID era, I guess we call it. And 2020, we closed. I say 200 million, but that's a lie. It was 198,700,000. And I was like, couldn't we just close one more loan?
Of course.
So I've never closed 200 million. But we closed 800 units that year. We closed 700 units in 21. And then COVID hit. 22 was, and to be honest with you, I'm not telling you, not telling you the numbers because I really don't. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head.
It doesn't. Yeah, at that point, it doesn't matter really.
Yeah, COVID hit 22, 23. They've been considerably down. I built to a team of 33 people, and unfortunately, I've had to downturn the team, and we have 8 people on the team now. And honestly, dude, I've lost a lot of really great, amazing, all-star people due to this downturn in market, and that's where we sit today. I mean.
It sounds like a wonderful kind of a bell-shaped curve, Michael, where you're talking about kind of just being down, and then you hit a peak, and now you're down, and it kind of sounds like it's ending in a non-fairy tale type of a way. But there's that part of the story is actually what's really loaded.
Yeah,
that part of the story is really loaded because 19, 20, 21, 22 were great years in the mortgage industry, interestingly enough, right? Because I mean that, and really the thick of COVID was tremendous for the mortgage industry. And you're talking about it almost like, well, then things just started to slide. Tell me about that. What was really happening at that point?
Well, I mean, the first thing that I realized was, I was a pretty decent manager when in growth and managing the growth. And real quick, come here, buddy.
Is this the miracle right here?
No, this is Ella. This is my middle child. Olivia, I can pick her up later. This is Ella. Have a good day at school. And down here is Liliana. Say hi, Jay.
Hi, JJ.
Hi, everybody.
I love you. Have a good day at school. Awesome.
Wow.
Okay. So I found. Bye, honey. Could you? Yeah, thank you. I found out that I got pretty decent at growth, managing the growth, and I found out that I'm also a really terrible manager when it comes to downsizing and letting people go and having to. It's funny, that video that I sent you yesterday. In the video, it starts off by going, "This shit's really hard. this growing, this managing, and this whatever. But it's really funny today as I sit here and look back on that video. That wasn't hard. This is hard. Being in this down trend, letting great all-stars go. That's really hard. And the question you just asked, like what happened, what led to it? First of all, when COVID hit and everything got shut down, I went into a little bit of a depression because I couldn't go out and see people and meet people, right? But not at first. At first, I was like, I need to be the leader, and we're gonna go to do this video, and we're gonna do Zooms, and we used to do happy hours every single month, and I used to teach classes every month. Well, I said, we're doing this on video, and we did like virtual happy hours, man. We'd have like 50 realtors show up, and we'd hire a musician, and we'd do like what's a PayPal or GoFundMe or whatever, however you can send people money. And then people would like tip the musicians on, like, it was awesome, dude, because the musicians weren't playing in bars, so they didn't have any money. Realtors, they weren't getting out of the house. Like, it was awesome. And I felt like needed. And then that really dwindled. And then we went back to new normal, right? Which people were kind of still going out, but they didn't want to get together in groups. And I couldn't share my message. And I love teaching, coaching, and inspiring. I love doing stuff in person. And then the business started to come down. The volume started to crumble. I tried to hold on to some of the team too long, quite frankly, to my own financial demise. And then at one point, I was just like, I've gone this far. Screw it. Might as well just hold on. Market's going to turn around, right? Historically, it's only lasted how long? And then month after month after month. And then financially, the amount of money that I made in the past 3 years has been dwindling because I haven't been paid in a year and a half. And I started feeling like a failure as a husband, as a father, not being able to provide, having conversations with my wife about, hey, look, we got to cut back on all the stuff that we've been doing because we just can't afford it anymore. And man, I really started feeling less of a person and almost a failure. And typically and normally I would, pick myself up by the bootstraps and go. And I just went into a depression and it got worse. And then I kind of just like said, all right, well, we're going to see how this plays out. And I guess the whole point behind that is now where I sit, I realize like what happened was my identity was challenged. My identity was, I created an identity around being an almost $200 million producer, right? And again, I don't want to be very clear with this too. Like, I'm not trying to put on like a fake show or, fake numbers or whatever. Like, it wasn't me that was doing all this producing. It was the team that I built, right? And it was the team that did all this. And so many people, like, they say it's me, I'm the producer, I'm the one with, I think this industry is so riddled with people that are focused on trying to create something, a front or a facade that's not real. And I told you I wanted to give an example or something around that. And the people like to have the glamour shots or whatever, like this microphone, for example, right? Like, check out this microphone. It's here right in front of my face. It's all, looking official and stuff. I should take a photo and like post this on Facebook with a microphone because this makes me, but the truth of the matter is I just put it here for the reason of being able to share this story. Like, this thing's not even plugged in, dude. Like, all right. I did this for a reason. Like, it's not even plugged in. Like, but it looks official, right? It's awesome. Actually, my microphone's up here. It's off the screen. But I share that because I was having a conversation with somebody. So I'm going to get rid of this, right? I share this because I was having a conversation with somebody about like people trying to create this fake facade of look, our volume stinks. right? Volume stinks for me. Volume stinks. I mean, we achieved the level of volume. We're still doing loans. We're still closing loans. We're still, but compared to what it was before, like, and I'm not trying to put a facade on there by saying, oh, I'm doing great, man. I was talking to somebody the other day and very cheerful, very like, upbeat. Oh, everything's amazing. I'm great. We're doing amazing. Mike, we're doing amazing. They kept saying that. And then I looked on MMI and I was like, I mean, you kind of misrepresented how amazing you were doing and how much business you were doing. Like, we can't fake it anymore, right? MMI has, and that's not 100% correct and accurate all the time, but people feel like they have to tell everybody that everything's okay and everything's amazing and everything's. In fact, a coach one time told me, he said, if somebody asks you, if you're not doing well and somebody asks you how you're doing, tell them I'm doing unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. And what that was honestly, JA, it's unbelievable to me that we're doing as little volume as we are compared to before. It's unbelievable. All right. But I think so many people have to put this face on, right? This fake face, this facade, and they're afraid to say, dude, I'm in a bad place. I'm hurting. I'm in a bad place. I'm sad. I'm in a bad place. I feel like a failure. And let's talk about that, So, I mean, maybe I'm jumping ahead. You're
not.
Okay.
You're not. I mean,
right.
Because here's the thing. Here's so far what I hope that the people that are listening to this are talking about. I know you're humble enough to not. I know it's the team that did the numbers, and I've known you all along. I knew you when you were just trying to get to that 100,000 income wise. I knew you when you were trying to go for that 350,000 income wise. And I definitely knew you when you were trying to go after that $1 million income type of a year. And all of those things are achievable in our business, by the way. That's the beautiful part about it, is that our business really does reward hard work.
Yeah.
And you will get out of it what you planned for, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Right? At what cost? And brother, I've had the privilege of working with you where, man, you have a heart of gold. I still remember running the Philadelphia Marathon, and this was really your event. I mean, I was just running the darn thing. And, we gave away a dog at that time together to a veteran. It was rewarding, but to you, man, it was just like, it's just what we do.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. And it was consistent that you were doing it on other fronts. I mean, I'm not even talking about the golf outings. I'm not talking about the other things that you were doing to support so many things. The philanthropical side of your well-being was very important. But Michael, it's not a facade that you're doing that, but what was behind the scenes of what was happening at that time, even at what cost was all that, and what was the lessons learned there?
Well, let's go back. So you brought up we talked prior to this, and I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. So I want to bring my microphone back here just to make it more official now. And
That's right.
I'm just kidding. We talked about, and I think this is important to know, for people to know that are either just getting in the business or, haven't achieved the level of, I'm going to call it success. And it is in quotation marks, my friends. When I first got in the business, I was making $32,000 a year at Banco Beverage as a merchandiser, part-time salesperson, right? And when I told my dad I was quitting the job, and he goes, "What do you mean? You have a 401k and everything?" And I'm like, I didn't know any better. He didn't know any better. He grew up, right, whatever. So first year in business, I got in and I said, I've set my goal, I'm going to make $100,000 a year. If only I made $100,000 a year, all my problems would be solved. And I think the first year I made like 80 grand or something like that. And the funny part is I spent $79,500 of it. It just blew through it. I never made money like that before. And I'm like, I set my sights on $100,000. And when I achieved the $100,000 mark, there was celebration there because it was the first time. I was like, dude, oh, this is awesome. I made $100,000 and I spent $100,000. So I had to go back to work and make more. And then I was like, set my sights on $333,000. That was the number, $333,333. Because I figured if I made that 3 years in a row, I'd make $1 million.
Right.
And then I achieved the goal that I set. And then I set another goal, set another goal. And I started achieving the goals that I set. And I had a mind game with myself. I said, when I achieved my goal, I said, damn it. I'm tired of achieving the goals that I set. I'm setting them too low. I got to set the bar even higher. And I set it higher and higher and higher. Anyway, my point is, and Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. When he said this in one of his live events, it just hit me. Because I couldn't figure out why I was so depressed, or not depressed, but I didn't feel fulfilled. I wasn't whole when I hit my goal, when I hit that big number that I set for myself. And I couldn't realize why I didn't feel accomplished or whole. I kind of looked around and I was like, dude, this is it. Like I thought if I hit all these numbers, I would, all my problems would go away. Like I'd solve everything, but life changes. And, you know, Tony Robbins says you don't get rid of your problems. You just get to arrive in your problems in style. Right. So what it ended up being was the lack of fulfillment. Like go out, you think if you make $1 million, and anybody listening here says, dude, if I just made $1 million a year, all my problems would go away.
So true.
Yeah. It doesn't, it won't. And I promise you, if you don't have fulfillment and you're not doing something with it, good with that, I promise you, you're going to look around and be severely disappointed. And that's why so many rich people, so many millionaires, right, are depressed. And you hear it all the time. People killing themselves. They got millions of dollars. We don't understand, but there is something about the lack of fulfillment and not doing things. And you talk about philanthropical all the time. You know, with the John Owen Mann Foundation, I started this in my father's name. My dad is a Vietnam veteran. He served in the Army. He died 59 years old, way too early. And he died of complications from Agent Orange. My dad used to help veterans get more benefits. He would go to the VFWs, talk to veterans that got turned down for benefits, and he would fight the government to get them more benefits, to get them twice as much pay, you know, to get them more disability. And he didn't do this as a job. He was retired. He fought. He got the money. So he did this to help veterans out of the kindness of his heart. And when he passed away, when he died, I said to him, I'm going to continue your advocacy for veterans. And that's when I started the John Owen Mann Foundation. And JA, I'm going to tell you, there's no amount of money. If you're not doing something with your money to make the world a better place, there's no amount of money that's going to make you happy. I promise you. I hand to God, I promise you, I guarantee that. So that's why I love you talk about the philanthropical piece of your vocation.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, I mean, I just know that fulfillment thing is such a major part of what people should really be thinking about, because I mean, there's an awful lot of buying of fulfillment, right? Where you think you're absolutely right. If you don't know what to do with $1, you're not going to know what to do with $1 million.
Yeah, you
might think you know. You might think you want to just live it out life-wise, but the sacrifices are fully in place. I mean, there's everything that goes along with that. And part of it is that, Michael, when I look at you today, even you've been through a transformation from a health perspective. I mean, so now we're talking about philanthropical side. We're talking about the relational side with your family, with your daughter. And then now we're talking about the physical side of it. Brother, you look great, right? And then so, and I know you take vacations like I put clothes on, just so that, and I'm always envious by that. But so you had this journey, and I'm sure people are asking you, what'd you do to lose the kind of weight that you did? So, those are some of the things that goes by the wayside usually when people become successful. So,
JA, I talk about the mask, right? I'm going to just take the mask off right now. Take the
please.
microphone away from the front of my thing. Take the glamour shot of me. And I've never done this, by the way, but people that sit in front of a Ferrari or the Lamborghini, like, let me take the mask off for a quick second. And this is a cool segue because my mind was going there before you even said it. So first of all, thank you. I feel great. I've lost 40 pounds. And for years and years and years, I did this Facebook thing where I was on there going, hey, look at me. I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, hiking 27 miles through the mud and doing this tough mudder shit. And my healthy friends would make fun of me and say, dude, knock this shit off on Facebook. Like, let's just go out and do it. And my intentions were to motivate people and maybe a little, hey, look at me. I'm out here doing extreme stuff. But it was also to help motivate people. But it never worked. It never stuck. I was doing all this extreme stuff. And it wasn't until recently, like, I just stopped overdoing everything. But I want to get to that in a quick second. I'll just jot that down because I want to make sure there is no mask here. And when you say take vacations, like you're changing clothes, I was certainly doing that during the time where I was making a lot of money, and I got used to that lifestyle. And I haven't made my as a branch manager trying to hold on to my team way too long, paying way too much money for marketing, overdoing it. Like, I've lost a lot of money. I haven't been paid hardly anything in the last 18 months. And I'm thankful that, and I say that because I have to be focused on being thankful that I made money previously that I could sustain through this time. The vacations that you're seeing me going on, dude, using my 3.5 million credit card points that I banked up from spending all this marketing dollars 3 years ago. And I want to say this like for real, on purpose. Like, anything you see me going on, I'm doing it only because of credit card points. I'm not spending any money, right? I am such a tight budget trying to get through this storm. And it's important to share that because I'm not trying to brag or boast. I'm using credit card points. We're not doing nearly what we used to do. And it's just a time of adjustment. And that bothered me, mental health. That bothered me because I created this character, right? I created this, and it bothered me at first. I'm like, I can't provide. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. And the the fact of the matter is, I'm actually a freaking hero because I'm stopping what we were doing. I'm teaching my daughters a lesson. Sometimes a good friend of mine, Kevin Reich, I don't know if you know him. He was one of my partners a long time ago.
Yeah, I do know him.
Oh, do you? His father grew up in the mortgage business. He was a kid growing up in the mortgage business. And he always said his father used to say, you could always tell how the mortgage business is going. Because when it was going well, we would eat Fruit Loops. When it wasn't going very well, we would eat Fruit Rings. Right? So I'm not a loser because I can't continue to do this vacation stuff. I'm a hero because I'm saying, hey, buckle down. We can't do this stuff right now. We can still do things, but we can't do what we used to. And I'm actually teaching my girls a lesson in that right now. So the other thing I want to peel the mask off and say from a health perspective, the marathon thing, I never told you this. So the marathon thing, you ran 26.2 miles. Mm-hmm. Didn't you fracture your leg or something like mile 11? Wasn't it?
We think it's in mile 6 that I actually fractured my heel.
Yeah. Okay. So you could have quit and gave up, and you persevered through. And dude, I love you for that. That's a huge lesson. But I've never shared this with you. Remember at the end where I had the big American flag, yes, and I was supposed to meet you at the last mile and run the last mile with you.
Yes.
Dude, I was so afraid that I could not even run a mile. I was so out of shape. I was so overweight and not in such good shape. I was so afraid that I couldn't even run that last mile with you. I didn't meet you out there. I didn't meet you to run because I didn't think that I could finish a mile, dude.
Wow.
Yeah. And I say that because, well, I say that because it's fucking true. And it's embarrassing. It stinks. You ran 26.2 miles, held most of the thing on a fractured heel. I was afraid I couldn't even complete a mile with you. So the point with all of this is I've stopped overdoing stuff. I've stopped overeating. I've stopped over drinking. I stopped abusing over abusing alcohol. I'm not telling you I quit drinking. I just had a couple drinks last night with some friends skiing. And I didn't know if I was going to share this, but I want to. During COVID, I hurt my back, and doctor prescribed me painkillers, and I couldn't walk. There was a point I don't even know what was wrong with my back. I was going to chiropractor 3 times a week. Chiropractor prescribed me painkillers, and I used the word dependent because I don't want to use the word I was addicted. But we'll take the mask off and just use. I am an addict, dude. I'm an addict in whatever I'm doing. Like if I'm building my mortgage business, I'm an addict.
Yeah.
If I go to Killington, Vermont, I'm addicted. I want to buy a house there, right? If I eat pizza, I want to eat pizza every single day. But doctor prescribed me painkillers, and I became dependent on painkillers for a period of time. And I'm going to tell you that really screwed me up, because now, look, I wasn't stealing jewelry and selling it on the streets, and I wasn't begging for more. And that's how I justified it in my head that it was okay. I didn't ask for more than was prescribed. But I'm going to tell you, it snuck up on me. And here's the reason I share this, because I was hiding. I was open about it. People knew that I had, I was taking painkillers, and I certainly needed them for a good period of time. But as time went on, I didn't need them for my back pain. It helped, but it wasn't necessary. And JA, I'm going to tell you, man, that screwed me up a little bit. It was a combination of not being able to go out and be with people, which I was the most social person you'll ever meet, right? I loved it. I loved it. And I'm using this as past tense, by the way. I loved being out. I loved being around people. I loved teaching, coaching, and inspiring. That was all taken. I shouldn't say taken away from me, because it sounds like a victim mentality, but it was taken away. It wasn't available. And then even when people did come back into going out in person, everyone's wearing a mask. People were afraid to be in groups, and nobody wanted to get together in the room. I mean, I was still doing stuff by Zoom. And then I'd be anxious, and the business was kind of getting worse. But dude, honestly, like, I was dependent on painkillers. And it kind of took the edge off of stuff that wasn't going my way or wasn't working. Still able to function, right? But it definitely took me out of focus and out of myself. I mean, I'm happy to tell you, dude, like, all of that is gone. That is gone. Stopped drinking, stopped over drinking, stopped overeating, stopped overdoing everything. And then I didn't go and overdo the exercise, right? Because I always feel like I'm in the state of overdoing. I didn't go overdo the exercise. I just said, hey, I'm going to do some things in the morning. I'm going to do some work and some flexibility stuff. And I find myself today just down 40 pounds. Thank you, finally, because I felt awful. And I want to spread the message, because there's one person out there that finds himself in that situation with anything, with drugs, with alcohol, with, I don't know what the other problems are.
Yeah.
If it helps one person, man, it's worth talking about, right? So,
Absolutely. So, Michael, you've shared a lot. You've shared a lot into unmasking, as you've shared, because you know what? There is a lot of people have this false impression that you can climb, you can work hard and continue to climb and chase your dreams and chase your goals. And then when it collapses, right, for reasons that are not necessarily of yourself, or it could be of yourself. And you've shared with me today, everybody here that's listening to you right now, you've shared that personally, you can sabotage things. And the elements on the outside, the market rates, I mean, think about it. Those can sabotage your plan and all of those kind of things. But by the time it all still comes down to it, it's really what you put into the whole thing. So it's got, you and I are both believers. We know what it is to have an idol, right? It's when you start worshiping something else.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about our spiritual walk here, but when you're starting to idolize the money, when you're starting to idolize work over family, over physical, over your philanthropical movement, and also on your spiritual walk, where you become self-focused, right? And so when I hear that, and that's the biggest reason why I wanted to put you on the air alongside myself, right? Is because people need to hear that message, because there are people out there right now trying to get that 100,000 because they think it's going to solve it. They want to get to that $333 because they believe that that's going to take them to their million. And then there are those that are chasing the million because they're already very successful in the business right now. And it's really interesting, Michael. There's an awful lot of people that I'm talking to, colleagues wise. In fact, I've just posted about it on Facebook today about all of a sudden when people dwindle down, there's still the blessing because you're still being blessed, but they can't even see that blessing anymore because they're so used to living it out up here. And up here sabotaged everything else that was below: family, relational stuff, physical, spiritual. So, Michael, let me ask you this: as we're kind of coming to an end of our podcast, and we could go on forever, by the way, because we're just starting to unfold it. So I would love to have you back on and really tighten it down. But here's the thing: when I hear your story and I hear you talk about, where you were to going up the bell-shaped curve to all of a sudden, I could walk away from this conversation going, my gosh, Michael Mann's down in the bottom of that valley again. So was it all worth it and stuff like that? So here's the question. Are you really that far down right now? Are you?
I'm going to tell you, I felt like it. This year I felt like it. I felt like I was walking through, I shared with you, not to, the valley of the shadow of death. Like I really was in a deep, dark place. And now I don't know if that's, we've had to move companies. I chose to move once. I was forced to move a second time due to situations we couldn't control. Volume is way down. My team is counting on me. I feel like I'm letting them down. The business is what it is. I can't control it. Yeah. I mean, I was in a really, really, really dark and deep place. I wasn't contemplating suicide, but thoughts started going through my head like, maybe it'd be easier if I wasn't here, and like really stupid stuff. But I'm proud to say that I know that those weren't my thoughts. Those were just some thoughts that were sabotaging me. Those were not my thoughts.
Yeah. And
let me be clear. I was not contemplating suicide.
No.
But there are some people that may be. So
that's very true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not in a great place. I'm in a much better place than I was before. And I'm definitely on the way back up of the curve, if you will. But I want to, what I do want to put a focus on is, remember how I said, like, I'm an addict. So right now I'm building back up. I'm getting things. I can get addicted to building my business, and I can get solely focused on, I got to do everything to get back to whatever number you or whoever's listening, whatever number you want to get to. And I'd ask you to not get addicted to doing that, because what ends up happening is you get so laser focused on your business, you forget about your family, you forget about your spouse.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest triggers for me is I hear people say 24/7, you're working 24/7. Stop saying that, please. For one thing, please stop telling people you work 24/7, because you don't, because you're starting a relationship off with a lie, because you're not going to answer your phone at 3:00. in the morning while you're sleeping. But inevitably, there's someone that'll go, well, I do, or I will. Well, then that's dumb, and you're messing up your life. Like that stinks. Don't get addicted to building your business that you are forgetting about your family. I always say there's so much divorce and relationships that are fractured with children and their parents in this industry. Like, it's not worth it, man. $1 million a year is not worth missing 10 years of your kid's life. Next thing you know, they're 16, 17, hanging out with your friends, and you're going, wow, great, I got all this money, but I missed out on my kid's life.
Yeah.
There's no need to make $1 million and then get divorced and then give half of it away. You might as well just make half of that and be really happy with the spouse or the person that you love.
Yeah.
Like, don't get addicted. Don't get drawn in. Don't get sucked in. Create boundaries. Dude, it is absolutely possible to make what you want to make, and by creating boundaries. So many loan officers say they go after real estate agents that have a heartbeat and a license, right? Like, oh, there's a top producer, I've got to be. And again, we can go on. I know we don't have a lot of time, but the story I shared with you about the agent that I said we're not a good fit. I mean, he was like a top 10 agent in our market when I'm trying to grow the business. Like, he couldn't believe that I said that. And I wasn't saying that to be egotistical or arrogant. I just said, hey, we're not going to be a good fit because I can't deliver to you me 24/7. That's a non-negotiable. That's what he said. I need you to answer my call. I said, I'm not doing that. So, if I had to do it all, if I had to do it all over again, I do. I have to. I gotta build back up, man. We can.
So, Michael, let me, because we're going to end there, by the way. We're going to end with that question, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
I want to end that with that because, the people that are listening to this right now are absolutely probably right alongside you right now saying, yeah, man, is it possible? Is it really possible? So there are people out there right now making the 32,000 in this business that can't wait to be at 100,000, and they think it's going to answer that question. There are people, like I said, they're trying to get to that $333,000 for that year. And then there are those that are looking to do $1 million this year, and they're trying to figure out, is it all based on everything that you talked about with the addiction and everything else? Is it even real? Can we even make that happen in our business? If so, what would you tell the younger self of you so that you don't have to necessarily be dealing with that right now? Is it possible?
When I built what I was building, when I built what we have built, and as an absolute we, because I couldn't have done it without the team and the people.
Right.
I didn't have kids, and I didn't have a wife. And if you're single and if you don't have children and you want to do that, knock yourself out. Get it. Go get it, dude. Honestly, if you're single and you don't have kids, knock yourself out. Go do that. Work 16 hours a day. Dude, crush it. That's fine. I'm not going to do that again. I mean, I'm going to put in work, dude. I'm going to work. I'm not telling you I won't work 12 hours one day, or I won't do a marathon. Like, I'm getting ready to go away to one of my favorite places, and I'm going to work while I'm there. But it's working on me. It's working on my business. It's working on the game plan, the outline. Don't take phone calls during dinner, right? Don't miss your kids' sporting events. Date your wife, date your husband. Don't answer your phone during the date. I'll come grab your phone out of your hand and throw it on the floor. And you should feel like that too. Like, if you do that, feel like you want to smash your phone. Like, you can set life up and create the life that you want any way that you want. You can do that. It's the inner voice that we have, the inner doubt that we have. It's people that have taught us we have to be, 24/7 with the phone and the business card. I don't even know if we do business cards anymore.
Virtual ones, digital ones. There you go.
So I just, hey, here's a quick tip. Go back to personal business cards, because everybody's doing digital these days. Your personal card will will stand out. So anyway,
Can't
did I answer your question? I mean, I don't know.
even take the coach out of this guy, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You know what, Michael? You did answer that question. You answered it in 45 minutes worth of a question that came down to that. Is it possible? Do you believe that it is? And what I got out of you, really, you said it. You said it earlier. I think it is doable, right? But
I
again,
know it is I know it's doable.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and it takes focus. You mentioned that. You mentioned non-negotiables. You said those words, right? When you were talking about the non-negotiables. And then you talked about those guardrails. See,
Yeah.
most people today, they feel like they can be on top of the mountain and not have guardrails, and then they can just like go crazy, right? Guardrails are there for a reason, right? Because even you will get sleepy and you're going to bounce off that guardrail and it's going to save your life.
Yeah.
Guardrails need to be put into that. So, you know, the title of this show was If Only I Could Have, right? So here's the thing. Can you do it? Yeah, you can. But Michael, what I heard from you, and I actually saw it, were your two daughters who just came up to you and you took the time, buddy, we're on a live podcast recording. There are people that would have probably stopped that whole thing and said, can we redo this? Kids, please, I'm in the middle of a recording. You didn't do that.
No.
Buddy, your words were just dumbed down by that action. I mean, you picked them up, you put them on there. As a host, I'm like thinking to myself, well, I hope they don't stick around all hour. But even if they did,
yeah,
I bet there would have been lessons learned in that on its own. And that,
yeah, I would never. Yeah, that's real. That happens every morning. When I'm on the meetings with my team, they come in every morning. They say hi. The one has a little joke with it. I'm watching you, Jason, and they do a little joke. And if anybody would ever get upset with that, then I'd be having a straight up one-on-one personal eye-to-eye conversation that this is my life. And I don't know what about that bothers you, but like, yeah,
it should be everybody's life, honestly, Michael. And that's what I got out of this whole conversation today. And that's part of the reason why I wanted it to be uncensored, why I wanted it to be just a real conversation, because I don't want to script you out. I don't want to have to tell you what you're going to do, say, just because it's going to be good for the audience. This is real life, what is happening with people right now. I'm making phone calls. People can't even afford to pay $100 to be coached when they say they need coaching and accountability. But yet it's the first thing people want to throw away because they can't afford it, right?
Jay, let me speak to that very quickly. So they can't afford to pay $100 because they haven't paid $100. And look, I can guarantee you, if I got knee to knee, face to face, and I looked at that person and I said, hey, what the F do you really want? Like, seriously, what do you spend $100 on?
Right.
That you can cut out. Like, if it was that important to you, you would find it. You would find it. You would borrow it from your mom. You would get a credit card. You would stop drinking Starbucks every freaking day. The only reason is because you haven't made a decision, an action, and taken action. I honestly, and this just came up because you told me your price point, like for your coaching, dude, that is unbelievably low for the value that you give. But I know there's a time, and I know it's not about money for you. It's about your heart. But what you're giving and your price point, dude, like that's a blessing to the people that have made the decision. But here's the thing, JA, you can't save everybody. Correct. And you can't want it more for themselves. So it's not about the $100 for you or for that person. It's not. It isn't. Because if they really wanted it, they'd find it.
Right.
And if you really want to hit your goal, if you really want to make $100,000, $300,000, or $1 million, if you really wanted to, you would do it. But unfortunately, it comes at a cost. And there's a cost for everything. But just sharing with you that don't let it cost you time and regret and something that you can never get back.
Right.
because I won't do that. I'm building this back up, dude. I'm building back up to where it was. And quite frankly, part of it was market, part of it was me, part of it was my choices. And if I could go back, if I could go back and wipe that stuff away, I don't know that I would, because I don't know if we'd be here talking about this. I don't know that I'd be having some of these in-depth conversations with people around what I deem is a lesson for me. J.A., when I was those 3 years, I made, and it doesn't matter what the amount was. It was way more than I ever thought that I'd make my entire life. But in those 3 years, when I was making that money, I was buying stuff to try to feel better. I was searching for that fulfillment. I was searching for that feeling. I bought a boat. I bought I rented houses every other month and invited all my friends. Didn't, charge anybody anything to come up. And I was looking for that fulfillment, and I got it. Like, that was awesome, but it wasn't the fulfillment I was really looking for. And I share that with you because don't go to make $1 million a year because you think it's going to solve all your problems and make you feel better. You have to be doing something with that.
Yes.
That's
as raw as it gets, by the way.
Yeah.
You got, because I mean, and we're going to have to cut it off right here, Michael. You know what I'd love to do, Michael? I'd love to have you on a quarterly basis to come back on here and let's follow your journey for the next year to 2 years, because this market's about to go through a turbulent mode, right? Ups and downs, and we got a political climate that's brewing right now. That's going to be affecting how we all function on a daily basis. I'd love to have you on a quarterly basis and have episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 with Michael Mann, and let's just follow this journey. I'm going to hold you accountable to that.
I'll do it as often as you want, man. For you, whatever. Like I said, absolutely, I would love it.
But let's
one person, if it helps one.
Yeah, and it will help. It will help many. And so here's where I'm going to go ahead and end it at this one right here. But I'm going to tell you right now that I've seen it. I've seen you. I've seen you when you're passionate about things. And I will tell you right now that even in your social media side of things, the passion that you have towards your kids right now is different than it was 2-3 years ago. It just is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never said that to you, but I've seen. So when I said you go on more vacations than I put on clothes, right? Well, here's the thing. When I watch your videos today, your posts, and you got your kids were screaming in you guys were on a chairlift, and they were screaming. I forget what they were even screaming about.
I love powder.
Yeah, I love powder. That's what it is. Yeah. And dude, that's what the 333,000 or whatever. That's the million. That's the 100,000. As long as you take the time to do that part of it, it's fulfilled.
That should be the goal, J.A.
That is the goal. That's what I mean. That's the fulfillment that maybe you were buying it before, but then all of a sudden God put you down to a point where he didn't knock you down. He just showed you what it means to go through hardships like that. But yet the smiles on your family is bigger than life, right? And I just hope that becomes your encouragement for today, man, because you're encouraging a whole bunch of us. You're giving us the hope, and we're going to follow your journey here. I'm going to have you on again in the next quarter to follow up on that, and we're going to follow it for the next 3 or 4 quarters. And as long as you allow me to do that, let's do it, and let's just have a totally uncensored conversation about how it's going. And we'll hold each other accountable to that.
I would love that. I just want to end with one thing. You just reminded me of something. Yeah. So as I was thinking of quitting the mortgage business, God came down and gave me the message, you're not done. I gave it all to God and said, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. You're in control. Just put it in front of me.
Yes.
And I prayed to God and I begged to God, and God delivered, right?
Yes.
And then I got everything that I ever wanted. And I just thought about this the other day. I don't know that I ever stopped and thanked him for that. Thanked God for the money. I was searching for this I was focused on all of that. Now, the position that I'm in right now, I just shared with you several months ago, and a year ago into several months ago, I went through a really deep, dark place. And what did I end up doing? I went back to the Bible. I was reading Bible every day. I'm praying. I'm feeling a certain
I
way.
remember
Like,
that.
God,
Yeah.
please take this away from me. I'm not me. I don't feel like myself. And that is when I realized I never actually went back and thanked and was thankful during all of that time. And it was just a reminder. So I want to share with it. And dude, I'm not a Bible thumping. I don't go around
No.
and stuff. I don't, but I have a great relationship with God.
Yeah.
So I just want to acknowledge that. Like when I was on top of the world, I wasn't like, oh, thank God for all of this. I begged him for it. I and then when things got rough, I ran back and
that's reality. That again is usually the pattern that most people will go down. And then eventually you'll get to that point where all of a sudden you start to realize, listen, you're still being blessed today. That's very obvious. And by the way, the points and on your credit card points and stuff like that allows you to take those vacations and stuff. That's all part of the blessings that have been given to you, and you're reaping the rewards of those. Listen, I did the same thing because I traveled so much. But Michael, man, you and I can talk forever right now. I do have to just kind of shut down. I know you've got to go someplace too. So, but Michael, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye at this point. I'm going to talk to the audience here just to close down the show. But Michael, what an incredible pleasure it is to have you on. Like I said in the beginning of the show, you're not only a friend of mine, you're a colleague of mine, but you're definitely a brother of mine. And I look at you as such, and I can't wait to see where this pendulum now swings. And I'm going to hold you accountable to it. All right?
I appreciate it. I love it. And stay professional, my friends.
Well, the sad part is, here's mine, brother, but it is on. So,
well, yeah, mine's but yours is off the screen there. That's so.
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother.
All right. Thanks,
you
man.
take care, man. And
I love you, my friend. I do. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Take care. All right, guys, man. You know what? We went way over in our time, but I absolutely believe this has to be worth it, because this is nothing to do, guys, with making that 100,000, making that 333,000, making that $1 million. That's not what this show was all about today. Today, I hope you heard it very much is doable. So let me just recap that really quick. All the things that you were talking about, it's all part of his story. Michael Mann's story and his ability to be able to take all of this. I mean, he went from the bottom, built himself up, continued to build himself up, affected a lot of people along the way. And then all of a sudden, you know what? There's a certain awakening. See, people talk about balanced life all the time, and they say, J.A., can you take all 5 of these well-beings and balance them all out? Never. That's my answer to you. You will never be able to balance all 5 of these out, because there's going to be times in your life, and Michael just shared it with us, that sometimes you might be on top of your world as far as what you're making vocationally. But if your relational side of you is off balance, you got to put some effort and energy into that. If you're physically out of shape, Michael talked about that. You got to put some focus on that. So is it ever really a balanced life? It isn't. An awareness of all 5, though, makes a big difference. And that's what I hope you were able to walk away with today. Guys, my name is J.A. Dava with Latreia Coaching and Consulting. Check us out on our website. Just communicate with us. If you need any kind of help in any of the well-beings, feel free to give us a call for sure. And here's the thing, all right? If you liked this episode, please do me a favor and just like it and just follow us. We'll be putting this out every single week. All right, guys? So for now, what a humbling thing to be able to say to you guys today. Go. Be blessed and go be a blessing. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.